we have some awesome news surrounding the year of Amy Rose 2027. Well, that's what the fans across the Sonic community are already calling it, and the evidence is stacking up fast. From the Sonic 3 post-credits to the brand new leaks surrounding Sonic the Hedgehog 4 and Sonic CrossWorlds, everything's pointing to one thing. 2027 is Amy Rose's year to shine. But here's when it gets even more exciting, as all these clues suggest that Sonic Frontiers 2 might be releasing sooner than you think, but there's a leak that I'm going to break down in this video that hints at the timing and possible game reveals, and trust me, it changes everything we know and knew about the future of the Sonic series. But this video will primarily break down exactly what to expect for the year of Amy of 2027, and exactly what we can expect from her character, and also all of the historical evidence that we've had ever since Sonic Frontiers. So this is going to be a huge amount of really cool information about Amy Rose, and exactly where Iizuka plans to take the character. This isn't just speculation, but it's also backed by sources that I'm going to explain for the first half of the video, and then we'll go exactly into detail as to what I think about these things. So I'm going to try and keep it short, snappy, and very informational, but before we get into this, make sure to like and subscribe, only if you'd like me as a person. But yeah, let me just get into this quickly without wasting your time. But firstly, I want to come back to this tweet by Sonic City about how Sonic Frontiers 2 could reportedly be in development and targeting a November 2026 release. Now, we've seen this before, but the reason I wanted to bring it up one last time just before we put this to bed finally is because we know that the year of Amy is going to be centered around the Sonic film, and especially if they're going to be ramping up merchandising and more budgeting information for the year of Amy, they're going to be starting that around the Frontiers 2 promotion, which actually points to the idea that Amy will have her big year in 2027, and also surrounding a spin-off game that could potentially feature Amy based off of the fact that she has an entirely new moveset from Frontiers. And yeah, I'll get into some of that as we go into more information throughout this video. But yeah, obviously the game will build on the open zone style, and may see Ian Flynn return as the writer, which is pretty much confirmed. Like, Ian Flynn, they cooked with Frontiers, he's gonna stay. Anyway, I kind of want to go into this really cool render of Amy, which obviously is probably going to be picture perfect as to what she's going to look like in the movies, but we're not going to spend too much time. This is by Big as VIT Boy. Yeah, this is really awesome, so big shout out to you. You did an incredible job with this. But this is kind of like a cool concept of, this is the perfect stock concept for the future of Amy content if the year of Amy Rose happens, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen based off of the two sources I've got in this video. But I feel like a UK punk and grunge aesthetic would fit Amy perfectly, especially if this style happens to when she's hot-headed and angry. So yeah, I think that's a really cool narrative towards how Amy would actually portray herself, and this logo is very, very awesome. I love this logo, the empowering year of Amy Rose. I believe that this is going to happen, not just obviously because of the leaks and like the whole conversations with Sonic Team, but also because of the way they did the Year of Shadow, and they know how successful that was. So that's already one inkling that you can kind of take to actually extrapolate the idea. But also, Iizuka has hinted the Year of Amy Rose in a new interview at the Brazil Game Show, so obviously that is one thing that we could take from. But then also here, Iizuka's talked about how he wants to spotlight other Sonic characters like they did with Shadow. So obviously they know that the Year of Shadow did incredible, that they now want to have Amy and then Metal Sonic. Potentially they could have like a dual role where Amy and Metal Sonic both have their year respectively. Maybe there could be like a tie-in narrative or a game to support that. I do believe that's possible because Shadow Generations didn't really take that much long to make, and also if they're already finished or like they're very close around production time for Frontiers 2, and before people say that no way they're not, they actually could be, because what is it, the last 7-8 months, and then like obviously start promotion and they'd start polishing, because they did finish production for Sonic CrossWorlds in February of 2025. They had just had to do a couple of like polishes. It wasn't inherently massive. Like, it's also a racing game, so it wasn't as difficult to produce. And everything made by Sega is now in-house, which is very awesome, because now they're not doing a whole Sonic Colors Ultimate situation. But also, I'm a huge supporter of the Year of Amy. This is by Z-Man. She's about to have her own movie debut, and this is the leading lady of the series, and she will be one of the OGs. Now, it's really awesome to point out the fact that Amy will have her own centered focal attention within the movie, which also leads to the idea of her being part of the Year of Amy. But also this conversation that was made between, I think this was a Sonic Twitter takeover for the release of Sonic Superstars, and in a recent interview with Brazil, Iizuka hinted at Year of Amy Rose in connection to Sonic Movie 4, and also this clip from 2023, the Sonic Twitter takeover, when Knuckles told Amy that keeps hearing people ask what her favorite era is, and she said lover before. Now, I think that's really awesome because obviously we could be seeing this whole love a year of Amy Rose. I think that would be a really awesome sentiment. They could obviously go for the whole empowering route. I think that would be like extremely helpful to reshape who Amy actually is, because obviously many people have had a misconstrued image of Amy, and I know Sonic Team want to fix that narrative, and especially because they did that with Tails in Sonic Frontiers. They wanted to kind of fix the whole mess that they did with Forces when he was afraid to fight Chaos Zero. So yeah, I think that's something they want to do. They want to improve the narrative of Sonic characters, and I think Ian Flynn is going to be the perfect person to do that. He obviously made Shadow incredible in Shadow Generations, and also Speederlight said, I think the Sonic Heroes remake / remaster is coming in 2027, which actually does line up a lot with the way that Frontiers 2 will release in November 26, which will give more commercial and financial success for the upcoming Sonic games, as Sonic will gain a huge boost in credibility, and more mainstream hardcore gaming fans will appreciate the evolution of how Sonic has come back to hit on the map. Because I'm not gonna lie, yeah, Shadow Generations was awesome, and so was CrossWorlds, but they're not mainline games, if that makes sense. So the second Sonic has his big mainline punch, like the big game, like the main course, that's when people are gonna say, okay, Sonic is back, and this time for good. So yeah, I do believe that they're putting everything into Frontiers 2, and they will use that to pivot more characters like Amy, and they'll also be able to add these games as side dishes before they make Frontiers 3, and Frontiers 4, and Frontiers 5. By the way, they're not going to be called Frontiers 2, Frontiers 3, Frontiers 4. They are going to be different names, I'm guessing, but it's a placeholder because they're going to be open world games, so it's kind of the same thing. But also, someone's expressing concern about how Ian Flynn could be the current lead writer for the series of The Year of Amy Rose. Let me know what you think of that. I'm not entirely sure about that. Like, I think Ian Flynn would do an amazing job. Ian Flynn's also always done a great job with the stories, so I don't really have a problem with it. Definitely better than Pontac and Graf, so not really much to complain about there. But also, this is kind of a cool aspect here. That Sonic Rumble clearly looks built around the current Sonic image. All the characters are a toy version of the Frontiers models, but with the recent style change that Sonic has had and the new aura that's not coming from the games or movies. So would you like to see this aura in games? Yeah, maybe they're slightly hinting something. Maybe there's a new boost aura for Sonic Frontiers 2. That's very far-fetched, but I wanted to kind of like hop into that. There was actually this information released recently from Sonic Movie Updates, which kind of directly relates to the Year of Amy Rose, from Daniel RPK, saying that Sonic Movie 4 will explore a darker future, like the name change from a few days ago. So this is not confirmed, but we'll take this with a grain of salt. So obviously a couple days ago, we saw how they were going to originally change the name of Sonic 4 to Sonic CD, the movie. So obviously that directly relates the whole story of Amy and Metal Sonic, which actually perfectly lines up with the timeline of that game, but then also adding the whole aspect of a darker future, so Amy could be coming from the future or the past. That would be really awesome to see. Time travel will have explicable elements within Sonic Movie 4, so we know that this is going to be a very strong point to address. And also, we could be seeing the Eggman Emperor Robotnik from the concept art of Sonic Movie 3 and Jim Carrey's supposed return, mainly because he has been working on a lot of CGI films. Now, I kind of want to go into these 5 points that are incredibly important for the whole focal point of Amy, the Year of Amy Rose. So the first one I want to go over is that Amy's cinematic debut will make her more a focal point. That's a very brief one that I want to go over, obviously, because she's going to be setting the stage for being the main presence, because yes, obviously Sonic is the main character, but she's going to have that Shadow kind of energy like Shadow had in Sonic 3. The writers and directors are explicitly stating that Amy needs her own story. So Pat Casey and Josh Miller have revealed that Amy was included in Sonic 3's main narrative, but was held back because it would be underserved by the scope of the film, and this could be the case for Silver the Hedgehog too. But they emphasized that Amy wanted to be cool and meaningful, not just a girl Sonic, and this suggests that the franchise is building up for her role for a future expansion, probably in 2027 because of the supposed movie release. And the delay includes equal signals that Amy's story arc is intentionally timed for the coming year. And that is perfect because they have actually ramped up new job listings for merchandise for Sega and also for Paramount. And they've also made it so Amy has now got a lot more center attention from the writers themselves. So I do strongly believe that because Amy's had more of a focal part, and like obviously we're going to be starting to see a lot more of more Sonic characters included within the supposed lore, yeah, there's not really anything dejecting this idea, which also means rejecting. There could also be evidence from the games and franchise that points to Amy's growth, for example, having her arcs such as Sonic Heroes and Sonic Advance 2, obviously from having more confrontational character arcs, like except from being Sonic's lover, but also expanding her roles in the games gives the company a precedent and a narrative momentum to elevate her character across all media, which also allows her to intertwine herself within maybe Shadow's story, Sonic's story. It just makes the financial success and the budgeting market strategy of Sega a lot more lucrative, which also allows for Sega to actually earn more money from Amy Rose. So that's obviously a business move, so that's from a complete business perspective. There is also cross-media expansion that Amy makes the perfect anchor for 2027, quotes, that because Amy is now appearing in the movie universe, she historically appears in many of the games and spin-offs, but she also becomes the bridge, which means that she has a bridge between core games and merch, which also allows a new ecosystem which Sega are definitely interested in. So for example, her gaming history, the strong fan base, and the movie studio's release all aligned with to make Amy the year of Amy in 2027 across every platform, so they can unify the brand, attract new segments of the audience such as female gamers and secondary fandoms, which could make Sega and Paramount have a wider fan base, because I think about 70% of the Sonic community are males, so having more of a female inclusion would actually make them more money, would make it more inclusive, and obviously if people are in relationships, it makes it so much more convincing for someone's girlfriend or wife to watch a Sonic film or have interest in Amy because it's a female character. But also the timing and the release window for the big Amy push could show that there are teaser scenes and development commentary in the release here that is tailored for her breakout, which means that in 2027 this isn't just another Sonic year, but it's designed as a headline for the year of Amy Rose, with the new role, the new spotlight, and the new story. And if Melissa or Meta someone is cast, or if she gets her own playable game or expanded role, she becomes the definitive label of the year of Amy Rose. Now I believe that they could do this because it wouldn't take a huge amount to make a game centered around Amy. I think that they would probably have to do like a tie-in, so maybe they could do Sonic Heroes and then obviously have an Amy expansion. I think that would be perfect. I don't think they could make a whole game about her. I think they could make like a side piece, kind of like how they did with Shadow Generations. So yeah, I think if they were to do that, it's pretty obvious at this point as well, because obviously they did that with Shadow. So yeah, Shadow, you know, Sega are very much in tune, and their business management marketers are a completely different level. And there's actually proof of this, because in 2022 there was a huge difficulty with Frontiers. I don't know if you guys remember, but Frontiers had gameplay released and it was bad, very, very bad, like really bad. I know I keep saying that, but genuinely it actually made me really sad. And then Frontiers got more gameplay and I was like, this looks awesome. And I think it was mainly like the frame rate and also whoever was playing that gameplay. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here. But yeah, they definitely know how to market Sonic more now, because obviously the Year of Shadow, the cutscenes are way better, the animators, the writers, the music, maybe not the music. Sonic CrossWorlds has got some good ones and some like okay ones, but yeah, I won't go too far into that because those are my own personal opinions. I want to keep this video strictly professional. And we've also got 5 points that give the strong backbone, which give the section of movie stills, game footage, historical clips, and also giving Amy the role for her focal point in Sonic 4, which also gives the engagement and retention for Sonic Team to introduce more Sonic characters, and eventually when they've got loads of different branches of Sonic characters to pull from, they won't have to be so restrictive on just Sonic, because obviously if you look at business from a widespread point, they won't just make one character. If you've looked at a lot of other multimedia and different franchises, you always notice, for example, with Spider-Man, he has Miles Morales. If you've got Batman, you have Robin. So like there's different types of franchises that are actually adapting different characters, which allows the universe to expand and grow and have more complex dynamics, which makes us appreciate the characters that we play as more, rather than just having the same familiarity, like, oh, it's Sonic, oh, it's Sonic, oh, it's Sonic, even though I don't mind that. But yeah, it just keeps things fresh and allows them to have more of a higher produce rate. Make sure to like and subscribe, obviously, if you like me as a person, and let me know what you think of all this information. I think this is really, really important. I had to tell everyone about this today, because Amy is coming, and I can't wait. But also in the corner, check out my video on, it's quite a long one, so obviously I wouldn't expect you to watch it that for that much. This video is about the evolution of animating Sonic models, so I go over every Sonic model, and then I sort of rank them and their animation. And then also there's a video here, which explains the future for Sonic Frontiers too. So let me know what you think of that, like and subscribe, and I love all of you. Genuinely, have a good night, or a good evening, good day, or whatever. I don't know.